You were here with By the Cover. Today I'll be reviewing The Secret of the Indian by Lynne Reid. This book was 147 pages and took me 1 day to read. I would rate this one a 6.6 out of 10. This review may contain spoilers, so if you do not want to hear those, click off now. The synopsis. This book revolves around two primary plot lines. First, Omri must figure out how to stabilize and mend the Indian braves who participated in the battle from the previous book. He teams up with Patrick's cousin Emma to do this. The second plotline, Patrick wants to see Boone again, and through a mistaken handling of Boone ends up being transported back to Boone's time, and he's also turned into a little person himself. As far as my likes with the book, this picks up where the Return of the Indian left off. I liked the introduction of Ruby Lou, and I liked how her story wrapped up. The exciting twist near the end of the book. I liked Boone and his partner living in the dollhouse. I thought that was cute. And as always, the illustrations were great. As far as my dislikes with the book, Omri's plotline is primarily based in something we've already visited in previous entries, taking care of the wounded and facing consequences for previous choices. Emma is added in to spice up the plot a bit by having a third party that may or may not keep the secret about the cupboard. This, however, still feels like a retread and thus not as interesting as previous entries. The other plotline involves Patrick going back in time and becoming small. This is the more interesting of the two plotlines, but the primary character in this plotline is Patrick, who I've never been a big fan of, so I did not fully connect with that plotline. The book spends some time focusing on the babysitter as well, which I wasn't a big fan of. Chapter 3 is a recap chapter you don't really need to read, going over what happened in the first two books. I'm not a fan of this, as I feel you should just read the first two books, but this is easily skipped, so it's not a big deal. I was actually surprised that there was a bit of underage drinking in this book. The other thing I found interesting was that Little Bear was in it very little. This book focused more on other characters. Overall, this one was a decent entry in the series, but I didn't love it, and I thought about half of it was a retread of things that we had already visited previously. That's about it. We'll catch you later.